Hey guys, Tony here from NEX-FS700, and we have a new addition to the family for both Creative Edge Productions and NEX-FS700. I just got in my new Sony FS700, which I'm super excited about. And I want to put together a little video kind of going over why this is now part of my arsenal. I've had a lot of people ask me on Twitter, I said, what are some of the decisions that made you choose the FS700? And let me tell you a little bit about that. I was really interested in the FS100 back before the 700 was even announced. It really intrigued me. I liked the picture that I was getting. We had the privilege of being invited to the Zacuto Revenge of the Great Camera Shootout, which is currently airing on Zacuto's channel. And we've got some behind the scenes that we'll share with you pretty soon. But I got a chance to see how the FS100 was performing against higher end cameras, and it was holding up amazingly well. So the camera was definitely on my radar of something I wanted to purchase. But the big concern that I had was, is this going to be a camera that is worth that $5,000 investment over my existing HDSLR setup? Because I use the 60D and the 5D Mark II. And this is currently being shot on the 60D. And in the 100, I was kind of going back and forth. I knew that it'd be more convenient for me as a shooter, but I didn't know if it was going to be more noticeable for my audience and for my end client base for Creative Edge Productions. So when the 700 was announced and they announced a lot of new features, it really pushed me over the edge in making that investment. Obviously the big one is super slow motion. It's a sexy thing to have. Being able to shoot up to 240 frames per second in full HD is a wonderfully glorious thing. I'm super excited about that, and it's going to be a great tool to have on certain shoots. I know that the web is starting to get crowded with people testing out and using it for really no purpose to it, but when you finally put it in the hands of a good cinematographer and you give it the proper placement, it's a great tool to have. I mean, I can list off a ton of different things that super slow-mo is used in, food commercials. Just watch TV and you'll see super slow-mo being used quite frequently. So having that part of the camera that I already own now is a great thing. I don't have to rent any special cameras unless I need super high frame rates, which chances are I'm not going to need for my end client base. Cinegammas, those are a huge thing. The Cinegammas come from the higher end EX line and like the F3 cameras from Sony, and the FS100 doesn't have this, but the FS700 does, and this really adds a lot of latitude, a lot of just great dynamic range. The camera looks beautiful. The 100 still looks great, don't get me wrong, but the 700 with the Cinegammas really competes well, and it's great to have in post, and I'm really excited to be playing around with that. So built-in ND filters, all the other major features that are just crammed into this one body, and it's still relatively small. I mean, the 100 is a little smaller than this, but this is a really small camera when you compare it to some of the other systems out there. And as you can see, I've got my Pelican 1510 case here, which is carry-on-able for going on planes. So this actually will be allowed as a carry-on, which is great. I can literally have everything with me, plus the fact that it's portable and it's easy to just grab this case and bring it with me. I literally have made this case so that I have everything I need to shoot, minus a tripod and other stabilization gear like a jib or something like that. But I'll just quickly show you what I have in my kit. I've got the 700, obviously. I have my lenses back here. I have the 70-200 f2.8, the 24-70 f2.8, and then what usually goes here is my Tokina 11-16 f2.8, which is currently being used on the 60D for this video. My small HD DP6, and then over here is the kit lens. Now, a lot of people complain about the kit lens. They say it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not super sharp. It's not very fast. I like it. I like this lens for many reasons. This lens basically turns my FS700 almost into like an EX1 style camera. I've got an 18 to 200 millimeter zoom range. So that's 11 times zoom. That's pretty crazy, the fact that you have that in one lens versus I have to have this huge range of lenses in order to get something similar to that. So having that in one lens is really convenient. Being a 3.5 to 6.3 isn't the fastest lens, but again, when I'm using a lens like this, I'm not really going for shallow depth of field. I'm going for kind of an ENG event news type shooting style, and so I'm not going for super cinematic shallow depth of field. So this is great for when we're doing behind the scenes event coverage, stuff like that. I can just have one lens on the camera and not have to worry about it. The optical image stabilization and the autofocus actually work pretty darn good. I was impressed. We were trying it out yesterday. We just slapped the camera on auto, and I went outside. It was one of the hottest days on record here in Wisconsin, and I was outside for a little bit, and then I walked indoors, had the camera on auto, and I was really impressed at how well it handled that. It looked great, and it'll be a great camera. The only thing that isn't manual isn't servo driven that would make it like in True EX1 is the zoom. You have to manually zoom out. But you know, the handle grip that came with the FS700 does have a zoom rocker on there, which means that Sony is at some point going to come out with a zoom based lens. We don't know when, because it doesn't exist yet, and they just said it's for the future. But when they have that lens, that's going to be exciting, because the F3 came with a zoom rocker with no lens, and eventually it came out with a really nice lens. Now the lens was $10,000. It's a PL mount. It won't work with the FS700, so I'm sure Sony's going to come out with their own proprietary one. But having that servo rocker would really turn this camera into a great ENG style camera. So finish off the case. I've got my Metabones adapter. If you haven't heard about this, you should. This is a really, really killer adapter. This allows me to electronically control all my Canon glass through the 700, and I can then have use auto iris control, all those types of features that are built into the camera with all my Canon glass. This is it's a $400 adapter, which is currently the cheapest one out there. It's hard to find. But if you can get your hands on one, and if you have a 100 or a 700 that you're looking at, this is a great asset to have. And then of course the other accessories. The new handle grip on the 700 is beefy and awesome. Uses 2 screws to mount on there. This thing isn't going anywhere once it's screwed in. And it's awesome to have a nice top handle that's really well designed. And of course it's removable, so the camera kit stays nice and small. And then last thing I have over in here is the charger. Now, the only issue that I have with these chargers, these batteries last forever. I can usually get out around 8 hours of shooting in a day, so that's like almost an entire day from one battery. And I have 2 of these, plus the smaller one that came with the camera. The issue is, they take forever to charge. I've been charging, I took it off the camera last night at about 20%, around 10 o'clock in the evening, and I let it charge, and it's still charging. You know, and it's been charging for, what is it right now? It's 11 o'clock. So over 12 hours of charging, and it is still going. So it takes a while to charge these up. I'm probably going to have to get another charger so that I can charge multiples at the same time and just let them sit. Pelican cases are great because you can get the back zipper pouches like this. I've got my Sennheiser G3 wireless mic system. Really nice. Love it. So that's great when I need those. I also have the shotgun mic that came with the camera. I have some HDMI and SDI cables back here. And of course, I love these Pelican cases. SD cards, amazingly awesome. I have one for my compact flash cards too. Keep them safe. You don't have to worry about carrying around either lots of different cases or worrying that your SD cards are going to be broken. Because as we all know, when you're on shoot, at the end of the day, this is the most important thing that the client's paying for, and if you don't have your cards safe, you don't have money at the end. So lots of batteries for my DP6 as well, which use the Canon LPE6. So I've got some third-party ones in there. Simple things like lens cleaners and a little dust blower in here. That's great. I also have a macro adapter right here. This uses this is a Zeikos, Z-E-I-K-O-S, and this allows the electronic transfer through of the information from the camera to the lens, so I can use electronic controlled lenses like the ones that I have for my Canon here, and I can offset the distance from the lens to the body, which then offsets the focus so that you can actually bring something closer to the lens. It's a really, really convenient. I do a lot of jewelry shoots, and so being able to get close to a piece of jewelry without having to have a special macro lens is really nice, because then I don't have to carry even more lenses with me or invest more. These are relatively inexpensive and really great to have around. And then the articulating arm, shotgun mic, and then screwdriver. Because of the way that this handle is, you have to go through the top to screw it in, and so you have to have a long screwdriver to have with you in all cases for that. So just one extra thing that we have with. Now there's other things like rod supports and stuff like that that I don't have in this case. I have to bring that with me separate, but literally I have enough with me here that I can grab the camera, physically start shooting with it, throw it on a tripod, and then like I said, if I need rod supports, I can bring that separate. So I'm really liking the 700. You guys are going to see a lot more of it, obviously. But I will say this, if you're thinking, Tony, you've abandoned us HDSLR shooters, I promise you I haven't. A lot of the techniques that we're going to teach you, and we're going to continue to teach, will be applicable to HDSLRs. We're going to teach lighting and sound and composition, all the things that are necessary for good shooting. It doesn't matter what camera that you're using. And occasionally we'll also whip out our 5D and 60D because we still use those as B cams. They're great cameras to have. I will never get rid of an HDSLR because it's just too convenient to have with us. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely leave a comment here. Follow us on Facebook, and definitely communicate with us on Twitter. It's a great place for communities to ask questions and continue to have a good community interaction, if I can talk. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.